Y'all, this was insane to witness. Cooper Flagg became the first 18-year-old in NBA history to score a 40-point game. Now, previous to last night, the player, the 18-year-old that had the highest scoring game in history was LeBron James with 37. Cooper Flagg said, you know what? 37 is kind of weak sauce. How about 42? Now, it would have been there would have been definite aura emanating from him if he had finished with 41 points. Shout out Dirk Nowitzki. But we'll take 42, even though it happened in an overtime loss in the Utah Jazz. As per usual, we're going to talk through the box score. We're going to mourn the loss of our quick little win streak. And we're going to look ahead to Thursday whenever the Dallas Mavericks are matching up with the Detroit Pistons. I am your host, Ethan, the advisor, Clayton. And this is Your Mavs, a Dallas Mavericks podcast where all are welcome. Y'all better behave. Guys, like I said, the Mavericks did lose last night in overtime to the Utah Jazz. The final score was, wait for it, 140 to 133. 140. Now, as you can imagine, one of the glaring issues last night on the court was our defense. Right, we gave up 140 to the Jazz. I'm not saying they're a terrible team. In fact, they're one of the best four. I didn't realize this about their game. You know that Shaq meme where you're like, I owe you an apology. I wasn't familiar with your game. Well, I owe a couple of those. First of all, in general, to the Jazz, pretty good team, and they played without Yusuf Nurkic last night. They had a balanced effort from top to bottom on their bench. They had 3 players with 25 points or more. And by the way, they're one of the best teams in the NBA in the fourth quarter. They averaged 30 points per fourth quarter, and we saw that on full display last night. But yeah, a couple other guys I wasn't familiar with your game too. Keontae Stinking George. Guys, he lit us up all over the place. I mean, we're talking middies, we're talking 3-point, we're talking attacking the hoop, we're talking drawing fouls. He just had it going on last night, and I'm trying to figure out who he reminds me of, because again, I hadn't watched a ton of Utah Jazz basketball, haven't really had incentive to do so. Okay, but goodness, I think they might have found their number 2 behind Lauri Markkanen. Speaking of which, he was one of those 3 players that scored 25 or more. Let's get an exact breakdown on that. But Markkanen had 33 points and 16 rebounds. Keontae George finished with 37, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Filipowski, they kept calling him Flip over and over last night, but the Utah Jazz announcers did. He had 25 and 9. So they had some guys that just showed up that were ready to play basketball, pretty much from the opening whistle. And I thought it was hilarious coming into the game. This was on NBA League Pass, and it was definitely the Utah Jazz stream. And coming into the game, they were one of the big storylines that they were hyping up was, this game is going to feature the first overall pick versus the 5th overall pick in their hometown hero, the Ace Bailey. And if you'll remember, Ace Bailey got that first bucket of the game. He missed a little floater in the paint, and then he followed it up with an authoritative jam. And here comes the announcers like, oh, here we go. Ace Bailey's getting the better of Cooper Flagg. Like, okay, can we relax a little bit? Can we relax? And I think that might have been the only moment the entire game that Ace Bailey really shined brightly. Okay. He was definitely outshone by his rookie counterpart, Cooper Flagg. But overall, I mean, looking at the box score, there's not a ton that really sticks out to me as what the heck. It was about an average game for your Dallas Mavericks. When I say average, 14 turnovers, right? Again, that number has come down from the 17 that we were averaging, but that's pretty well where we've been landing the last 3 or 4 games. We did out-rebound the Jazz 54-47, and we actually grabbed a ton of offensive boards. I thought that was a great effort on our part. But yeah, the turnovers weren't great, and I'm sick of it, guys. We shot 68% from the free throw line. We got to the charity stripe 41 times and only connected on 28 of them. That's a pretty big issue, and it continues to be a problem, especially down the stretch. Right, we could not buy a bucket late in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure we scored at all in overtime, and it's really discouraging during stretches like that to finally get to the free throw line and still not take advantage of those. Beyond that, we shot 33% from the 3-point line. So, maybe our hot shooting is over, but from the field, we still shot a solid 49%. So overall, I like what I see effort wise. The offensive output was there, even with Anthony Davis out. I'm just maybe starting to get a tiny bit concerned with our defense. People are virtually able to drive and get whatever bucket they want on us right now. And because that's working so well, so is the drive and dish. And we gave up only 13 3-pointers last night on 36% shooting to the Jazz, but it really felt a lot worse than that. It just felt like, again, whatever they wanted, they were going to get. So I don't really know what to chalk that up as. We did switch around our starting lineup a little bit, where we moved Najee Marshall to the starting 2 and relegated Max Christie to the bench. Not sure I understand that one, but I'm not Jason Kidd. So anyway, some high points on the box score, focusing on the Mavericks here. Again, Cooper Flagg with 42 freaking points. Pretty much from the get-go, this was going to be his game. He put his stamp on the game like within a minute of the tip-off. 42 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. A couple of crucial turnovers in the fourth quarter that I think maybe we could have won the game if we had taken a little bit better care of the ball. But another solid defensive effort. He had 3 stocks last night. PJ Washington, humongous game, 25 points, 13 rebounds. Najee Marshall with an efficient 15. Okay, I like what we're seeing from him. He doesn't seem to be forcing it too much. He's unapologetically driving. He is shooting about 70% within 10 feet of the hoop. So that's become a nice little weapon for us. Ryan Nembhard, all right, pretty good bounce back game for him. 14 points, 11 assists. He also had 4 turnovers. I don't really know if that's going to become a trend where he coughs the ball up that much per game, but I'm going to complain about it less if you have double-digit assists, right? Overall solid effort for him. And then off the bench, we had Klay Thompson with 12 on 4 of 9 from the 3-point line. So overall, overall very balanced attack. Cooper Flagg was our leader from start to finish. Got to the free throw line 20 times. And, there's a lot of debate going around about what ethical basketball means. And I'm sure you guys saw what Wemby had to say after they smoked the Thunder in the NBA Cup. But when you see a player get to the free throw line 20 times a game, you're like, oh, man, foul baiting. Like, you're doing that weird, like, where you're initiating contact and the refs are still giving you a whistle. Guys, Cooper Flagg doesn't get that whistle, okay? He's a rookie. He's 18 years old, if you haven't heard. He does not get that type of whistle, and each time that he got to the free throw line, it was because he was fearlessly attacking the hoop, and he was fouled. Like, there's really not much you can do to stop that cat when he gets a head full of steam and he drives to the hoop. So you're kind of left with no choice but to foul him, and even then, sometimes it's not enough, right? I think he had 2 or 3 and 1s last night. So I'm still going to call it ethical basketball because he was going to get his buckets either way, and it came by him doing what he does best, and that's driving. Gosh, y'all, that lefty finish, he's really got that. And if you listen to Locked On Mavs, Nick Angstad, his theory on the lefty is that, with Coop having the splint on his shooting thumb, he's had to sharpen the left hand. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But either way, I love what I'm seeing. And goodness, I feel like anytime he goes to the left, he is not going to miss. But what were some of the glaring issues? Again, we've already talked about the free throw shooting. Like I just, my mind cannot comprehend shooting that poorly from the free throw line consistently. The turnovers were there. I mentioned that we out rebounded the Jazz, but there were a few key moments where we did not box out after getting a defensive stop, and they got an easy putback dunk, right? And that happened like twice in the fourth quarter. Lauri Markkanen was on one. It seemed like he had a chip on his shoulders, and I don't know. He owned us. It was pretty crazy to watch. But I'm not going to consider that a glaring issue again because we out rebounded them, and overall it was a good effort. But here's something that I'm going to point out that yikes, Daniel Gafford. Okay, 12 minutes last night, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. I think we need a lot more from Daniel Gafford. Okay, that's like 3. I get that he's nursing an ankle injury. I can already see people in the comment section talking about the ankle injury and maybe he's not 100% healthy. Like that's fine, but you can tell there are games when Daniel Gafford shows up and he's ready to play and he's that energy guy, like where he will not stop no matter what happens. Like that, those are the types of games we're used to seeing from Daniel Gafford, flying all over the place, catching alley-oops, blocking shots, and I think he was super duper ineffective last night and the past couple games that he's played. First game back from taking a few days off with the ankle injury. I don't know if they're ever going to figure that part of it out, but I need Daniel Gafford to level back up. Okay, that little playing time, that little impact on the game, that's not going to cut it. And with us being without Derek Lively for the rest of the season, with us, likely having to rest Anthony Davis a lot, like we need to know that whenever Daniel Gafford is in, that he's going to bring it. And he hasn't done that in a while. Okay. I'm going to call that a glaring issue. But last thing I'll talk about the box score, I think I'm going to do this each game now where I'm going to highlight the stats that the rookie duo, right, and I'm talking about Cooper Flagg and Ryan Nembhard. So combined, the rookies had 56 points, 11 rebounds, and 17 assists. Pretty freaking good. Okay. Again, those guys seem like they're comfortable on the court. They take what the game gives them. They're not forcing it. Maybe they can take a little bit better care of the ball between the two of them. But oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this rookie duo. I think virtually any other game, if they continue to play like that, it turns into a win, right? But let's move on. Thursday, we have a game against the Detroit Pistons, the top team in the East, the hottest team in the NBA that is not OKC. And I guess a quick little dramatic storyline is AD going to be playing against his future team, right? There's been all that speculation about whether or not the Detroit Pistons would show interest in Anthony Davis. And per Christian Clark, not so fast, y'all. Not so fast. What he's heard about the Mavericks coming into the trade deadline, trade season, is that they're looking to remain competitive this season. Okay, so on the one hand, I think that means AD is not playing against his future team on Thursday, right? Because I guess Detroit is not showing interest, and then 2, the Mavericks are not super showing interest in moving him at this time. I don't know how much stock you want to put into that, but I know when we've talked about trades, people get the most excited about trading with Detroit or Chicago based off of the trade packages that we've talked through. And the little bit that I've watched of Detroit over these past couple of weeks, guys, I don't know that they need or want to shake things up at all, right? I think that what they've got is good. And maybe they could be tempted to bring in a superstar to come play alongside Cade. And as I've said before, if AD is a number 2 option, then he is so incredibly valuable. If he is your number 1, you might have a little bit of issue. But him coming and being number 2 to Cade Cunningham could be dangerous. But going into Thursday, it's not looking like this is a showcase for his future team. The Mavericks are looking to stay put, stay competitive. And I think, again, that really feeds into the speculation that Kyrie Irving is going to return soon. And when I say soon, I mean shortly after the new year. Okay. Basically anytime from the new year to around the All-Star break. So let's call it mid-January that he returns. Like, that's kind of what I'm starting to feel. But not only are the Dallas Mavericks not necessarily looking to make a lot of moves right now, and they want to remain competitive and this and that, like December 15th was yesterday, 0 trades happened. Okay. Like, there has been no movement across the league so far. I think what that does mean, and I read this in the Stein line, is, a special rule with the new CBA is that if you're traded by December 16th, which is today's date, then you can then be flipped and traded again before the deadline of February 5th. No movement happening at all. So I don't know what teams have up their sleeves right now, but I think maybe the chit chat is going to die down before it picks right back up before the trade deadline. We'll see. But just kind of based on our trajectory right now, we are now 10-17. So we're still within, striking distance of the play-in seed, right at the 10th seed in the West. And let's say Kyrie does come back in a month. We are competitive for the rest of the season. The product is really nice on the court between Kyrie, AD, Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington, Max Christie, Ryan Nembhard. Like, you start to name off all these guys that are playing good basketball, and you can see, hey, yeah, maybe we are going to be competitive. And if that is the case, our lottery chances, obviously decrease. Not that matters anymore, because we had a 1.8% chance of winning the lottery this last year, and we did it anyway. But all that to say, starting to scout or pay attention to kind of the mid to late first rounders, right? Because, if we're picking somewhere between, 12 and 18, based off of where we, what our record winds up being at the end of the season, then I still think that this draft is super stacked. And my dad is scouting the heck out of college talent right now. And I think, there's some guys that we can start getting excited about. I'm probably not going to start talking specific names until after the new year, because it's still early in the college season and we're still a really long time from the lottery. But there are going to be some names that we start talking about, getting excited about, because especially if the Mavericks are going to if they're going to make any trades at the deadline, that probably the focus is to get as many draft picks as possible. So we're going to start unpacking and looking at some of the talent that we could really start getting excited about going into next season. Because if we scoop up a couple of picks in the next draft, put really awesome talent next to Cooper Flagg, who will turn 19. He'll turn 19 on the 21st. Like, that's where the future outlook starts to be rather insane. And I get excited thinking about that kind of thing. But guys, those are pretty much the storylines for today. Again, we lost last night 140-133 to the Jazz in overtime. It was a good game, solid effort overall. Not our best defensive effort. And Daniel Gafford, what are you doing? I have questions. But other than that, solid showing from the rookie duo. We're now gearing up for our Thursday matchup against the Detroit Pistons. No, it does not seem that AD is going to be showcasing against his future team, because the Mavericks are staying put for now. That is until something changes, right? And it changes quickly. The Mavericks are in the news a lot, so just stay tuned, everybody. But in the meantime, y'all be good. Have an awesome Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow morning. Party on.